So now we've got all the faces, the interior and exterior, but you notice we got these two little horseshoe shapes or half circle shapes for the top, and they're not attached. And what you're going to find is when you render this or animate it, um, you'll see that this is now um, a seam right here. That white line, remember, is showing the seam, so you'll get like a noticeable edge. So to get this together, I'm going to select the edge and find out where it is. So I'm just literally going across. All right, and now I have, you notice this bottom is now this interior are associated, right? So what I'm going to do is use the modify, oh, I'm sorry, cut and sew, move and sew. So it moves the bottom piece there, and you can see we've got a problem here. This is really a very critical problem. Uh, Things are inside or overlapping, and that's really going to be impossible for the software to understand how to put color or texture on that. So to fix this, we're going to select that shell and go under modify and say unfold. And see immediately what it did was it did what the name says, it unfolded. So now I've got that edge. It put this at an angle, which is kind of awkward, but we'll work with that in a second. So I'm going to do the same thing for the top. I'm going to grab all the edges that join the top portion, the interior, and done move and sew. And again, get the shell and then unfold it. Okay, now obviously we talked about this. I've got to keep the map inside this quadrant where this black line is a little bit heavier, and you can see I'm overlapping here. So I could select the two shells and then say modify layout. Now what the software did, which I think is kind of silly, is it scaled everything down to keep this at this angle, which probably won't matter much. It just bothers me or concerns me that there may be some difficulty in seeing some of the detail there because the map is smaller. So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to select my shell and hit the E key for rotate and hand rotate and move that shell to what looks to be a pretty good position. But I'm not going to trust myself. You can't rely on your eye, even if you zoom in, to know for 100% that you're inside all the boundaries of that. So you're better off getting close, or as close as reasonably possible, and then using the layout. And now you know you've got what the software considers the mathematical ideal arrangement, okay? Looks like I have two little edges here. Oh, there they are. Okay. See the little white line there? And I've got them up here in the corners. So that would be one place I'd have to finish doing one more thing where I'd have to grab those edges and sew them together. Move and sew. Okay. I'll do this one and then hopefully you got the idea for the rest. Yeah, so it's actually two edges. They're at 90 degrees to each other. But that should fix that corner so it doesn't show any kind of seam or gap there. Okay, and you go around and do all four of those. So again, it's actually two edges, and the letter G in Maya means repeat the same action. So I'm just trying to get down to that. Yeah, of course, they're all four corners are like that. If I get this one. And again, I hit the letter G to repeat the same action. Oh, this one's a little messy. Let's see how this works. All right. I don't think we'll see a mess there. Now, one one trick or one thing to do is, if there is a problem, you could obviously go back and manipulate it more. But another way of dealing with that is you don't bring the camera super close and focus in on that edge. All right. And you can put a checker map and see how well you're doing. And you can see by virtue of how this checker and the letters here are going that we've got a pretty good pattern going. You know, it doesn't, the checkers aren't distorted, or they're relatively consistent in size. The letters aren't misaligned or breaking up. So looks like up here in the corner where we did our little adjustment may not be totally ideal, because you can see that's a little awkward. And we may be able to come up here with the faces, grab that face and maybe say optimize. There it is. And that might fix that. And then we can do it over here and do the same thing. Didn't do much, but it did some. If you hit the letter G again, you can see if it will do as much. So it's a little messy there, but I don't think we're going to notice it with the relatively simple color pattern we have. But more importantly, every place else looks really very consistent.